Hello, friends. Susan here. Today is June 24th. It is launch day for the 6th publication that I have been a part of. If you know me, you know that I have 5 books published. Each one of them is an anthology of my own writings that I wrote over time in the last several years. I honestly love my books. I call them little because they're actual little books filled with wisdom that I gleaned and gained over my lifetime. Therapy, managing, coping, processing, integrating, thinking, committing, and growing. And each one of those small books has short chapters packed with punches to get you going. Over time of the course of my career, I used to wonder things like, how did they get that? I used to look at things that other people did and ask myself, how did they do that? Like, how did they get that? I'm pretty good. I'm pretty smart. I'm this, I'm that. And so early in my career, my primary career as a fundraiser, I made a decision that I wasn't going to wait to be asked. And when I say early, I started my career at age 22. And so this was by around 30. I was a very young person, but I simply reached out to the editor of the journal of my professional association and asked if I could write an article. And he said, yes, great. And that's when I started publishing and working in that case with the magazine editor, etc., for a professional publication. Over time, as I grew in my career and began to morph and change and grow from life's experience and wisdom gained, I decided to just start speaking. I used social media and created my own platform, and I just stopped waiting to be discovered by TED and decided to just speak when I felt moved, deeply moved, that I might have something to say that might affect one other person. And so on is how it went over the many years of my career till the time that I created my own platform, my own YouTube channel on which I'm coming into 1,000 videos soon, and books published, and etc. So what I learned was I started looking for opportunities. I started looking for opportunities to say yes, instead of being cynical and skeptical, they just want my money. I started looking for opportunities that matched my heart, my soul, and especially my work and my own wisdom. And that came from intuition. And so recently, only a few months ago, I saw someone whom I had been following, someone whose style I liked, whose writing I liked, and to tell you the truth, whose provocation I appreciated, because critical thinking, being forced and provoked into thinking right now, I feel is deeply important. Her name is 𝙒𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. And so, you follow people on and off and look for them, or they pop up on your feed as the algorithms go. And so I happened to see her post, just simply putting out there to her feed, has there been one piece of wisdom that has transformed your life? And I read this and I said, yes, of course, this is something that I have worked on and worked towards and worked about and worked in and worked for since I learned this one piece of wisdom, which I learned from other self-help material. In those days, they were called audio cassettes. And I used to listen to them in my car on a long commute that I had. And that piece of information, the one piece of wisdom that transformed my life, was this: thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. And my type A immediately responded, wait a minute, thoughts are things? Things? I can control things. If there's one thing I was good at, it was controlling things. So if thoughts are things and I can control things, then de facto I can control my thoughts. Voice up inflection, big, huge question mark. And the answer I learned was yes, I can control my thoughts instead of these perseverating, difficult, worried, anxious thoughts swirling around and controlling me. And when I say this piece of wisdom transformed my life, I'm not kidding. There were a lot of other things involved with that, including therapy and a self-commitment to do the work myself, from a deep personal desire to feel better than I did at that time in those days. So in Anne's post, I think it was like, hey, I'm putting a book together, an anthology collection of wisdom. If you had a single piece of wisdom that transformed your life, get in touch with me and let me know. And I immediately went to private message her and say, I have a piece of wisdom. Here's what it is. And I'm interested in being included in this. So basically, I don't know what happens in the back end from her. She must have gotten lots of whatever people being interested. But somehow in the end, I sort of applied in that way and I was selected. This is an investment of a nature that I'm familiar making with my business. I invested, 7 years ago now, I think, in my first podcast with the Transformation Network, Transformation Talk Radio, a big financial investment that I made for my business. I don't pay for Facebook ads or sponsoring different kinds of advertising. I'm very strategic in the marketing investment that I make so that I can sell and get clients whom I want to work with. So I joined this collective. And another thing I liked about Anne is I knew already she was no nonsense, kind of like I am very direct. Sometimes my clients say to me, did you really just say that to me? I'm like, yes, let's go, baby. So the thing that Anne told me was that it was a tight timeline, that within a few months, this book was going to be published, and that anybody who was in it kind of needed to commit to the timeline and show up. Showing up is not a problem for me. And because the wisdom of that point of transformation was so deeply embedded as to become intuitive for me, I was easily able to say yes. And that's how it went only a few months ago. And from that time to this, today is the launch of the Wisdom Collection. Today is the launch of the Kindle version. And to tell you the truth, I really had to think about it. I always keep it real. You know, I don't bullshit with people. I don't sell to sell. I don't push to promote. It's not like that. But as I've been thinking, participating, experiencing, and thinking about all of this, I realized that this particular book is the kind of book that's really helpful to have on Kindle. It's really helpful to have on Kindle because it will sit there on your device, and any of the chapters that speak to you can be available to you over and over. And friends, my gosh, if there's one thing we need, it's sources of deep wisdom inspired by life's experiences, written by people who can really write, whose writing can really speak to you and touch your heart, which is what I hope my chapter will do. Every chapter has an opportunity to connect personally with the writer of that chapter. For me, I created right on my website a mindset quiz titled, Is Your Mindset Holding You Back? It's right on my website, easily able to be found. And I definitely want to encourage and inspire people to tune in to their minds and their mindsets right now, and to realize thoughts are things, and the difficulty of what's being intentionally and maliciously perpetrated on us today by our own government in this country. It's important for us to be able to get in charge of our thoughts, which is what helps us be in charge of our emotions, which is what helps our soul to feel more comfortable. And so I wanted to just come here and invite you to celebrate one moment for one person on the planet who's having a good moment today, even as the country and the world rages around us. Any one of us has the ability, any moment, to get in control of our thoughts and to realize that's a thought that I'm thinking, that thought of fear, that thought of worry, that thought of anxiety, that thought of difficulty, that thought of concern for, my family, the people I love, my community members, etc., and so on. That's a thought that you're thinking. And in this moment, at any moment, you have the ability to take in that breath, and get yourself into better working order, and to commit to changing that thought. I'm in charge of my energy. I can be in control of myself. I choose to feel okay in this moment, here and now. Yes, everything is going on around me, but my being in anxiety and worry and fear, rising up to anger and resentment and, perpetrated negativity, toxicity spewing out of me, I can be in charge of myself. I choose to be in charge of myself. I'm going to go out in nature. I'm going to sit quietly. I'm going to get to what I need to do. I'm going to focus. I'm going to find my discipline. You get to choose the thoughts you want to think. I'm not saying it's easy. I didn't be like, oh, it's easy. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it, but it may take some work. But there is one thing that I will tell you from decades of practice of this tool, and that is practice does make it easier. It's impossible to believe that you could change your thoughts from fear and worry about what's going on to something calmer and feeling better and something that is active for you that you can actively do. It may be hard for you to believe this now, but I promise you it's true if you practice this tool. So if you're interested, find me on LinkedIn, find me on Facebook, or go to my website and download this book today. If you're familiar with the way these books get launched in the system, basically for a day or two, it's going to cost only $1.99. I honestly just downloaded my own copy this morning, but I'm doing all this to support the collective of the writers. And so I haven't had time to open it. And but you can be sure I will be doing that today. All right, my friends. Thoughts are things. You can control things. Consider buying the Wisdom Collection today. You'll be glad you did. Take care. See you soon, friends.